Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm Kerry. Today I'll be showing you how to crochet a jeep, which was another request. When crocheted using 8-ply yarn and a 3mm hook, this one, the size is 15.5 centimetres by 10 centimetres or 6.25 inches by 4 inches. This medium jeep, crocheted using 4-ply crochet cotton and a 1.5mm hook, is 10 centimetres by 6.5 centimetres or 4 inches by 2.5 inches. This small jeep, crocheted using 2-ply crochet cotton and a 1mm hook, is 8.5 centimetres by 5 centimetres or 3.25 inches by 2 inches. I'll be using Catona cotton today. I've got 146 Vivid Blue as my main colour, 172 Light Silver, 110 Black and 507 Chocolate. I'll be using a 2.5mm crochet hook. I've got a darning needle to weave in the ends, scissors and black sewing thread and a needle to stitch the wheels on and the spare tire. Now I'm starting on the body. I've got my main colour, the 146, the Vivid Blue, and I start with 27 chain. For row 1, I miss the first chain and work 1 single crochet into each stitch to the end. I'll have 26 stitches. A single crochet is a double crochet using UK terms. For a single crochet, we put the hook into the stitch, the second from the hook, and bring up a loop. Put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with this yarn at the end through both loops. And we need to work 1 single crochet into each of the remaining chain. And that's the first row complete. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn our work, and we're going to work one single crochet into each of our 26 stitches. So a single crochet into each stitch to the end. And that's row 2 done. Row 3 is worked the same as row 2. We start with one chain and turn our work and work one single crochet into each of our 26 stitches. Now that's the bottom of the body done. We're going to start on this back part now. So for row 4, we start with one chain and turn our work, and we work one single crochet into each of the first 10 stitches. So a single crochet into each of the first 10 stitches. Now that's row 4 done. We leave the rest of the stitches. For row 5, we start with one chain and turn and work one single crochet into each of the 10 stitches. For row 6, we start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of our 10 stitches. Row 7 is worked the same. We start with 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each stitch. And row 8 is worked the same as well. 1 chain and turn and work 1 single crochet into each of the 10 stitches. And that's row 8 done. We fasten off now. And that's the back part of the Jeep. For the bonnet of the Jeep, we join in our first stitch. So I turned over and I join in this first stitch here. I just pull through a loop. Now I've got a bit of a tail left. And I work 1 chain. I work 1 single crochet in that same stitch as the join, and then I work 1 single crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. Now I'm going to work a joined single crochet, or it's sometimes called a decreased single crochet, over the next 2 stitches. So I put my hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, hook into the following stitch and bring up a loop. I've got 3 loops on my hook. I put the yarn around the hook and take my hook with this yarn at the end through all the loops. And that's row 1 done. For row 2, we start with 1 chain and turn, and we work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. So hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, and then yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through the 3 loops. Then we work 1 single crochet into each stitch to the end. We'll have 8 stitches. For row 3, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work 1 single crochet into each of the first 6 stitches. We've got 2 stitches left. We work a joined single crochet over those last 2 stitches. And that's row 3 done. For row 4, we start with 1 chain and turn. We work a joined single crochet over the first 2 stitches. And then 1 single crochet into each stitch to the end. And that's the body done, except for the neatening row. For the neatening row, we work 1 chain, and I'm going to turn my work because I'm going to have my Jeep facing the same way as this one. And we're going to work single crochets around the whole piece of the body. So we work a single crochet into each stitch along the top, into this last stitch we work 1 single crochet, then 1 chain and a single crochet to start working down the side, and then we find a suitable place to put our hook and work 1 single crochet into each stitch down the side. And then we work a single crochet into each stitch along this bottom part here. I'm going to be crocheting over the top of the tails. I'm going to work a slip stitch into that stitch at the join of the bottom and the back part, just to make a better corner, and then work a single crochet into each stitch up the side here. And into the corner stitch I'll work 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet. And I'll continue like that, working a single crochet into each stitch along the straight edges, and 1 single crochet, 1 chain and 1 single crochet into each of these corner stitches. And I'll be back when I get near to the end of the row there. Now I'm back near the beginning of the row. I work one single crochet in the same stitch as that first stitch. Then I work one chain and slip stitch in the first stitch of the neatening row. For a slip stitch, I put my hook into the stitch, bring through a loop and take it straight through the loop on my hook, and then I fasten off. And that's the body of the Jeep done. We're going to work this side step now. Now I'm going to crochet chain, and I'm going to crochet through the chain and through the bottom of the body to crochet it on. So I'm going to work a couple of extra chain just in case, so I don't have to undo it all. But if you'd rather not crochet it on, you could just work 34 chain and stitch it on. Now I've got my 172, the light silver, and I'm going to start with 36 chain, which is a couple of extra chain than I think I would need. So 36 chain, but if you're going to stitch it on, 34 chain should be enough. Now that's my 36 chain. Now I'm going to work one half double crochet into each of the third and fourth stitch. So I miss 2 stitches and work one half double crochet into each of the next 2. A half double crochet is a half treble using UK terms. For a half double crochet, put the yarn around the hook, hook into the stitch, the third from the hook, and bring up a loop. I've got 3 loops on my hook, then put the yarn around the hook and take the hook with this yarn at the end through all the loops, and then I need one half double crochet into the next stitch. Now that's just for that little bit at the end, the bit that sticks out. I'm not so good with the terminology for vehicles. Now I'm going to join the side step to the body. So I work one half double crochet into each chain and through each stitch on the body. So I put the yarn around the hook, hook into the next chain and hook into the first stitch on the body at the bottom and bring through a loop. The first one can be a bit hard. And then yarn around the hook and take the hook with the yarn at the end through all the loops. And I repeat that right across. So a half double crochet into the next chain and the next stitch on the body. And then just repeat a half double crochet through the next chain The first couple are the hardest and then it gets easier. Now I've just got the corner stitch left to work through. And then I work 1/2 double crochet into each of the next 2 chain. I work 2 chain and slip stitch in the same stitch as the last 1/2 double crochet, and I just undo those last couple of chain, so just take the loop out and pull it tight, and then I fasten off. So that's the side step done. Now I'll just weave in those ends and I'll be back with the chocolate, the brown for the seats. Now for the bottom of the seat here, I've got my 507, the chocolate, and I join it 3 stitches before the back of the body. So this stitch here, and I work 2 chain. I work 1 half double crochet in that same stitch as a chain, and 1 half double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. I slip stitch into the side of the body, just where the stitch meets, so just in there, and fasten off. And that's the bottom of the seat done. For this top part of the seat, we join 2 stitches from the end of the back. So this stitch in here, and work 4 chain. We work 1 single crochet in the second chain from the hook, 1 half double crochet into the next chain, and 1 double crochet into the last chain. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. For a double crochet, put the yarn around the hook, hook into the stitch and bring up a loop, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn through the remaining 2 loops, and then slip stitch into the next stitch on the body and fasten off. Now I'll just weave in those ends and I'll be back and we'll work more. Now for this windscreen frame, I've got my main colour, the 146, the Vivid Blue, and I join just the stitch before the corner there on the bonnet. And I work 10 chain. I miss 2 chain and I work 1 half double crochet into each remaining chain. So miss 2 chain and work 1 half double crochet into each chain to the end. And then slip stitch into the body just after the corner there and fasten off. And that's the windscreen frame done. We'll work the inner wheels now. So using my 172, the light silver, I make a magic loop. Now there's lots of ways to make a magic loop, so make it how you like. I like to just put my hook on the yarn, bring the short end over the hook and take the long end over the short end to make a circle. I put the yarn around the hook and bring the hook with this yarn at the end through, and there's my magic loop. For the inner wheel, I start with one chain and I work 10 half double crochet into the circle. There's my 10 half double crochet. Now I pull my circle tight. So I take hold of this tail and just ease the circle in as tight as I can. And I join with a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch and fasten off. And that's the first inner wheel done. I'll make another one. So I make a magic loop and work one chain and work 10 half double crochet into my circle. I pull the circle tight and join with a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch and fasten off. Now I'll just weave in those ends and I'll be back with my black and we'll work the outer wheel, and I'll also work this roll bar. Now for the outer wheels, I join my 110, the black, to any stitch around the wheel and work 2 chain. And I work 2 double crochet into each stitch around the wheel. A double crochet is a treble using UK terms. For a double crochet, you put the yarn around the hook, hook into the stitch and bring up a loop. Yarn around the hook, take the hook with the yarn through 2 loops, yarn around the hook, hook with the yarn through the remaining 2 loops. So 2 double crochet into each stitch around. and then slip stitch in the top of the first stitch, and fasten off. And that's the first wheel done. The second wheel is worked the same. We join in any stitch and work 2 chain, and work 2 double crochet into each stitch around the inner wheel. And slip stitch in the top of the first stitch and fasten off. And that's the second wheel done. Now for the first part of the roll bar, we join our 172, the light silver, the stitch behind the top of the seat. So this stitch here, and work 6 chain. We miss the first chain and work 1 single crochet into each remaining chain. And slip stitch into the same stitch in the body and fasten off. I leave a bit of a longer tail because I'm going to use that to join the two pieces together, and that's the first part of the roll bar. Now I joined my 172, the light silver, 4 stitches back from the first one. So this stitch here, and I work 8 chain. I miss 1 chain and work 1 single crochet into each stitch to the last stitch. And I work 2 single crochet into the last stitch, and slip stitch into that same stitch and fasten off. The 2 single crochet just makes a bend back towards the other one, and we'll join those 2 together. Now the steering wheel is worked in 2 pieces. So I've got my 110, the black, and I join 2 stitches down from the windscreen frame. So this stitch here, and I work 4 chain. I miss 1 chain and work 1 slip stitch into each of the 3 remaining chain. Slip stitch into the same stitch on the body, and fasten off. And that's the first part of the steering wheel. For the second part, using my black, I work 5 chain. I miss the first chain and work 1 single crochet into each remaining chain. And I fasten off, leaving a bit of a longer tail. I'll use that to stitch it to the other part of the steering wheel. So that's just the top part there. Now for this bumper bar, I join my 172, the light silver, 2 stitches up from this side step at the front. So this stitch here, and I work 9 chain. I miss the first chain and work one slip stitch into each of the next 5 stitches. Now I've got 3 stitches left. I'm going to work a joined single crochet over the last 3 stitches. So I put my hook into the first stitch and bring up a loop, hook into the next stitch and bring up a loop, and hook into the last stitch and bring up a loop. I've got 4 loops on my hook. I put the yarn around the hook and take my hook with this yarn at the end through all the loops and slip stitch into that same stitch on the body. And fasten off. And I just pull the joining one tight. And that's the bumper bar. Now for this spare tire, I've got my 110, the black, and I work 11 chain. I miss 2 chain and work 1 half double crochet into each chain until the last chain. So 1 half double crochet into each chain till I have 1 left. Into the last chain I work 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet, a double crochet is a treble using UK terms, and 1 half double crochet. And then I work 1 half double crochet into the back loop of the chains, working down the other side. So 1 half double crochet into each back loop of the chains. Into the last stitch we work 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet, and we join with a slip stitch in the top of the first stitch and fasten off. And that's the spare tire done. That's all the pieces worked, so I'll weave in the rest of the ends except the ones I'm going to use to join, and then I'll be back and we'll put it together. Now there's my pieces. I've got the Jeep body, 2 wheels, the end of the steering wheel and the spare tyre. The first things I'll do is attach the 2 roll bar pieces together. The back part goes behind the front part, and I'll attach the end of the steering wheel to the steering wheel there. The last things I do is attach the wheels to the body, about there, and the spare tyre just to the back. It sticks up slightly above the top of the back, so about there. So I'll do that and I'll be back to show you the finished Jeep. And there's the finished Jeep. The size is 14 centimetres by 8 centimetres, or 5.5 inches by 3.25 inches. If you've liked my video, please like, subscribe and share. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Twitter. The details are in the description below, along with the details of my website where I have my patterns, the details of my Facebook group and the details of my Patreon. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.